Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Coalition. My name is Dana, and I'm here to talk to you about the Multiverse of Madness, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I just seen the movie a couple of hours ago, and I let it marinate, let it stew in my brain because I had a lot of mixed emotions when it came to this. On one hand, this is an absolute perfect horror movie. On the other hand, they dropped the ball on a lot of different things. And so I just wanted to give you my really quick spoiler-free review about what I thought about the movie. Right off the bat, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, boom, starts off with action, and it really doesn't let go. This is a movie that is really high in action. It is fast paced, and it doesn't allow you to just really sit and breathe and simmer into what is going on. At first, it later finds its rhythm, but at first, right away, we start off with there's a wedding that's happening, and I'm not going to really go into and explain anything on that's really going on, but it's a wedding, and it really allows for a reflective moment when it comes to Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange has spent so much time kind of saving the world, and he's been away for 5 years that has taken a toll on him. And one of the big main themes of this movie is, are you happy? Has everything that you've done in your life ended up with you being happy? Now, granted, you're not going to be happy all the time, but overall, are you happy with the decisions that you've made in life? And if you had an opportunity to choose elsewhere or go elsewhere or do something else, would you have done something? And, that kind of really harpens back on the time when Doctor Strange gave the time stone to Thanos. Whether or not that was a decision that, would make the world happy in the overall picture. Yes, because at the end of the day, while everyone will be snapped, we do know that they will come back. But what is it then that moment that they have lost in between? And by them coming back and seeing the world changing as it is now, are they happy? So it not only is a reflection of that in the very beginning, but also with Doctor Strange. Is he happy with the decisions that he's made in his personal life? Everything that we've seen going on with his love life, either relationships or just kind of with friends, the choices that he made, the fact that he couldn't always be there, and that the fact that superhero-ness kind of overtook everything, how much did that sacrifice in his personal life? So that is one of the things that I really do love about the MCU. They take these themes that are completely relatable and you could say mature, and they really base a movie around that. Now, coming in with Sam Raimi as a director, this is going to be completely bonkers because we already know Sam Raimi is completely bonkers. Overall, this movie felt like a mix between Evil Dead and Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It was some moments of like, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be laughing because you want me to laugh or because this is coming across as kind of wonky and a little bad. So I'm going to laugh at it. Not sure about that. But as I stated, the first 20 minutes are completely crazy and it gets right in the way of the action. We don't really have an opportunity to, introduce some of the characters that are new that we meet because, again, everything is going at such high speeds. And at the end of the day, I really didn't like that. I really wish that there was chances for us to get to know, say, for example, America, who is played by Soshi. I'm gonna think it's Gomez. Please forgive me if it's not Gomez, but Soshi, she is an absolute delight. She is pure fun in this movie. She is a young kid who knows who her powers is. She knows what the multiverse is. It's kind of a different spin. Usually, we have someone kind of explaining the powers to someone else. She's like, nah, I know what it is. I just don't really know how to control it, but I know what I can do. And I've been doing this for a while, and I'm going to educate you on what the multiverse is. And we don't really get that. And that's really refreshing to see someone so young kind of take the lead on this. But the downfall of this character, who I wish we could have had more time to get to know, I don't know anything about her aside from she can plunge through the multiverse and she had two moms. They kept the two moms scene. And really, that was really vital to the movie because it doesn't give much information about her aside from she has two moms and there's some things that happen with her two moms. I really wish we were kind of able to live with the character to kind of see her in that daughter element, maybe interact a little bit with her two moms, but I understand that there was no time. But again, when you sacrifice certain storylines, is it for the betterment of the overall film? Yes and no. Um, and most of the times, I loved her playing the character. I loved America, but she was just running, screaming, and punching things or being tied up. I really didn't get an opportunity to sit with her and to know why I should care about her. So, for those who kind of don't know, kind of her role that she plays in Scarlet Witch is Scarlet Witching, and she is looking for her two kids that we've seen in WandaVision. We know we already, so this connects directly to WandaVision. She's looking for her kids, and she knows that they're out there in the multiverse. America possesses the power where she can literally punch through the multiverse and get you to another world. Just beep, a punch. And this is also important because people are like, well, the multiverse was opened by Spider Man and the spell. Yes, but people forget Doctor Strange also closed this. And Kevin Feige has even confirmed the reason why the multiverse is open is because of what Loki and Sylvie did at the end of Loki. So going in this, you kind of need to know a little bit about the ending of Loki and WandaVision, but you don't need to know all the other 500 movies that's come before this, which is refreshing considering even What If, if you want some backstories on some of the worlds, you can watch What If, or you can say, I've never seen What If, and still be able to follow along of what's going on. So the really big main players of this movie is obviously Elizabeth Olsen as Scarlet Witch Wanda. And we have Doctor Strange, played by Benedict Cumberbatch once again. This is them really kind of going at it. You have one person who's like, I lost my children. I lost everything that I loved. And then you have Doctor Strange like, I lost my life too. Not my life in terms of I'm dead, but I lost the life of what I could have had. And I kind of understand what you're going through. I understood everything that happened with Westview. He's very much aware of what happened with Westview. So he knows that Wanda made everything right. So he's okay with not interfering with that. But at the same time, he's really trying to explain to Wanda, it's time to let that go. Your children are not real. But how do you tell someone that what they've experienced, what they've gone through is not real? And so that right there comes into the clash. So I'm not going to explain how the multiverse pops up and happens, but I will say this. It was complete delight to be able to watch them jump from world to world to different possibilities. There was a scene, there's a couple of scenes that strung together where you get this montage of different worlds and it goes by really quickly. And this is why I can't wait for this to come on June, I believe June 30th on Disney Plus, 45 days later, because you'll get to see and examine each world that they was able to just quickly go through. There's a whole world of just paint. That was really fun. So once we get into the multiverse madness aspect of it, this is when things go completely bonkers. It settles down a little bit, but it is bonkers in terms of every world has a different way of operating. Obviously, every multiverse is not going to be the same. And so you see America and Doctor Strange kind of interact with that world. And of course, we already know there are different strangenesses that are out there. And to see him interact with himself was quite delightful. There were moments that, like I said, this is a horror movie, but there are a lot of comedic moments where, to the point of the comedy can overshadow the horror. But when it gets really horrific, it it can get there. Um, the horrific aspect is not because, oh, this is violent or bloody. It's horrific in terms of how do you stop the most powerful being? Because remember, Wanda's a Nexus being. She can easily consume everything. How do you stop someone who is so incredibly powerful? Um, and then you don't know what to do. And also at the same time, Wanda's horror is her children are not there with her anymore. And that is, I feel, a mother's one of her worst fears is losing her children and being unable to get them back. So it plays a lot on that horror aspect. Another thing is the cinematography in some of these worlds. The music by Danny Elfman helps to elevate that. It helps to say, hey, you know, there's so much tension. I don't know what's going on. And anything at any moment or any turn of a corner could be the end of you because at the end of the day, this is a movie about searching for America so she can go through the multiverse. But she's able to go through the multiverse before. Yeah. Anyway, so One of the bright sides that I will say to this is, like I said, the music, but not just the music by Danny Elfman. The cinematography is beautiful. Each world is well defined and lived in and different from the other. And there are color palettes that are completely just out of this world. There's one sequence with a character that's all white. Think of just pure white snow. And all of a sudden, you have this red, bright red smoke enveloping over the whole whiteness of it. And just to see that color palette is something that is so incredibly beautiful. And like I said, this is weird. This is going to be Sam Raimi at his Sam Raimi ist. So we have what you already guys know. There are some zombie images that happen. So you got some dead stuff that's popping off. You have a lot of reanimated things that I really can't talk about, but there are moments when the jokes or the situations go so over the top that the audience keeps laughing, and I'm not sure if what was placed in was intentional for us to laugh or because there are moments that are so over the top like I can't take this seriously. And I would say that that is kind of one of the downfalls of the movie. It takes the comedy of Thor, especially Thor Ragnarok, and it seems like it intensifies it by 100 to the point where this is supposed to be something that's scary to me, but instead I'm laughing. And I'm not laughing because I'm so scared. I'm laughing because it's so silly. Um so that is kind of dealing with I'm not exactly sure what I'm supposed to do in this moment. And that can be, for me, kind of the downfall to it. Another thing is, like I said, there are characters that, such as America, we don't really get to live in her world or really get to follow her journey and to give us time enough to care about her. So when you have Scarlet Witch who's searching after her, it's like, okay, well, just hand her over. I don't know why we're doing this. And yeah, Strange stands for we're not going to just start killing innocent kids. But at the same time, why should I care about this one? So we don't get that opportunity. And overall, there's no character development within her. Um, she really just seems to exist to run, punch things, and to be tied up, maybe to scream a little bit. Um, I don't really see her as a fully fleshed out character. You could say that she is just someone of convenience. Wanda needs someone who can she can go travel a multiverse with. Here's this random girl who can punch through a multiverse. You're still again not giving me a reason as to why I should care. Um, but one of the stands out, compared to that is Doctor Strange. We've lived with Doctor Strange through What If, the first Doctor Strange, and all the other kind of iterations, and we've kind of seen him grow. And I really wanted to say that because of Peter Parker with No Way Home, it kind of built this foundation of him and knowing and understanding how to deal with children. And then I realized he doesn't remember Peter Parker. Peter Parker doesn't come up in the movie at all. But you do see a shift and change in terms of him not really, originally, I don't want to mess with this kid, meaning Peter Parker, to kind of him being a protector of a child of America. And I really like that growth within the whole movie. Rachel McAdams is in this, as we already know. I'm not going to really spoil her role or what she kind of does in this, but I will say she was just overall a delight to see. Every world that she is in, she is very refreshing and she kind of gives you that sense of home. No matter the universe, she gives you that sense of home. Like you just kind of feel like, even though she may not trust you, but she cares about you. And everything may not be all right, but she still cares about you. And I really love this. One of the other standouts is Benedict Wong. Um, I said Benedict Wong. I'm so sorry. One of the things that is truly a standout is Wong. I loved Wong, his character in this. He plays this so well, and he has so much of a larger role in this movie. I loved that they gave him such great action scenes to work against. He's running around, he's doing things that I can't really spoil, but he's running around and he's doing things, and he's fully fleshed out. He is the Sorcerer Supreme, as we already know from the previous things of what happened, what was going on with Doctor Strange. Um, and but he isn't like someone who's like braggadocious about it. He's like, yeah, it happens. And we kind of see him going about his day and duty of what he's doing. One of the things that I really loved, again, action. There is a huge action sequence. There's a couple, but one that I can talk about is there is people going full force after Scarlet Witch, and as you could see, like, she is incredibly smart. Been doing the dark hold stuff for a while. She knows how to get into people's heads. The action is everywhere. The fight scenes are really crisp. They're really well choreographed. There is a moment between characters that I can't really talk about that is like, oh, it's going down, but then things happen. Kind of lightly touching upon, I'm not going to spoil anything, but we kind of already know there are some cameos, there's some people who make an appearance. One of the most funny things is there's someone who does appear and the audience lost their minds over. And then there is another character who appeared and it was dead silent. Oh, they knew who they was. And because they knew who they was, it was dead silent. And I was like, Marvel, please take note, don't do this again. We don't want to see this. I thought we'd gotten over this. There's no reason for this. So yeah, one worked, one really didn't work. So overall, I had a lot of opportunity to think about this. I did not like this at first. The humor was so over the top for me. It felt like Evil Dead meets Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I really couldn't take it seriously. There is a Strange that's out there that I really wanted to know more about. And if you didn't see What If, you would have really wanted to know more about. And even though I've seen What If, I really wanted to know more about and to know how this character we know how this character got to where they've become, but I really wish that we could have gotten a live action version of that world, of his story. And I'm talking about episode 4 of What If. And that was the one of trying to not lose Christine. For those who haven't seen it, I won't spoil it, but it was really great to see Benedict Cumberbatch play all of these different roles, vastly different from each other. Um, there was a moment where, there's some reanimated things that happen, and even that, even though it's silly and completely over the top, it really showcases just how well of an actor he is. And in terms of Elizabeth Olsen, just give this woman her freaking Oscar already. She has such an incredible range. We see her just pure delight, mommy moments from her, and then we see her such in pain, and we feel her pain through the screen. And she doesn't have to be wailing, she's not crying, she's just existing. And we can see the pain that has consumed her. And that right there is just pure acting. When you can act with no words, with just your eyes, she is incredible. And so it really tries to ground you in the realness of her pain. Because, like I said, a person losing their children, just in general, is a very painful and traumatic moment. And to also lose the love of your life and have to kill them, and then realize that you killed them for nothing and they died anyway, and then they died again, that is very traumatic experience, and it kind of makes you understand why Wanda would switch like that. And I truly loved her performance. She still has not mastered that accent. I don't know what's going on with that accent, but other than that, she is just incredible. But this is not a perfect movie. This is really wonky in terms of, yes, it's weird and bizarre, and we're in these worlds, and I feel the terror, and I feel the horror, and I feel the tension. But at the same time, it's so funny that these moments are so over the top that you lose it. You have something right there, and I see it on the page, but sometimes everything is not executed well. Um, And again, Sam Raimi is gonna Sam Raimi, and I understand that, but I just kinda wish it played more on the character development. I wanted you introduced me to this girl. I don't know why I should care about her. Um, I don't really care about her. You just show me she can punch through the multiverse and we don't want her to die. Cool, but is it really that bad if she does die? Um, and there are some other moments in there that I really can't talk about. A lot of action moments that I truly enjoyed, but for me, the story was not fully storying. Um, there were characters that I thought took away from what could have been. There were characters that they added that completely made me say, "What was the point in that? You brought this person for who's probably 500 years old, precious and pure. And what was the reason? What was the reason for these other characters? Oh, life is different in different worlds. Yes, I got that. But what was the purpose of that? Because you wanted to have a really cool action scene? Cool. But you did nothing with it. There's nothing that happens. And there's a lot of things in this movie where they bring up stuff, but it's not executed. So I feel that Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is a movie that works better in our head. You know, the theories that we've come up with sometimes are better executed than what is in that movie. And I really was kind of disappointed in that. And the only person you can really blame is yourself. You came up with these theories. They really didn't say today that we're going to have this in here, but went and you was starting to think things. But overall, y- there was no reason for this movie. Yeah, like like in order, you can say for Scarlet Witch to wrap up her story, yes, but overall, in terms of everything else that's going on, not really. Like that happened, but the things that happen, you're waiting for the result and nothing is fully executed. So overall, it was like, but what was the reason? And I don't really know, aside from just, here's a movie so that we can give Elizabeth Olsen her Emmy and her Oscar and anything else that she's eligible for, because she does deserve all the awards. She's absolutely superb. So overall, it was okay. I do want to say one of the standouts, like I said previously, is just the cinematography. This is just gorgeous. They created such beautiful scenery, um, such beautiful worlds that we got to kind of stay in. I wish we could have lived in them a little bit more instead of just hopping around and giving us glimpses and being like, hey, that's that dude from What If, and that's that character from that thing that we can't talk about. Um, but overall, it was okay. It existed. In terms of everything overall, I this is the thing. The cinematography is so utterly beautiful that it works so well in the theater, but at the same time, the story works really well on TV. This is a complete standalone. So if you're somebody who's worried, like I didn't see the 800 other movies, that's okay. Like I said, you just really just Google what happened at the end of Loki and you watch WandaVision so that you understand her full arc of her story and you understand the full emotion behind it. The emotion that she gives off in this is really wonderful. But again, there are moments that it's just not executed well. And again, MCU has a problem with their villains and when it comes to the landing of a movie sometimes. And this just didn't land. It was like, okay, that happened. And well, I guess it's over with. But for you or someone who really likes standalone movies that lives in its own world, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse is that. It really does not connect to when it comes to outside things of what is happening. There are two credits. There's the mid-credit scene, which I'm not gonna obviously spoil, and there's an after credit scene. Was really funny about the after credit scene. There was a really small section in the group, like in the theater, that was went full theater. Where it was like, "Yay!" and the other part was like, we think that's who that is, but we're not sure of what that is. But even that after credit scene doesn't really connect to anything at all. So if you just want something that's very self-contained, that works. Doctor Strange will return. He's gonna be in someone else's movie or maybe his own movie when it comes to the ending of what we did see. So that's a plus. But overall, I would say this was a meh. This was a moment. This was a mod. There were really great moments. Again, cinematography, Elizabeth Olsen, Doctor Strange. We got to see the different worlds, but it didn't fully execute everything. I really wish that it played upon, that what ifness in terms of living in that world of, hey, what if that would have happened? Instead, we're just hopping around on different things, and it's like, okay, well, what was the point of that? Um, I do hope that you love the movie. I genuinely hope people love the movie. I hope it makes $5 billion. I hope everyone is happy when they see it. Um, Again, there are moments, like I said, that is completely masterful. The acting is masterful. It's just the execution of some things. Sam Raimi is so over the top that it can actually ruin a scene where people just fell out laughing because they couldn't take something seriously. And this was a kind of a serious moment, but it was just so over the top that it took away from what was supposed to be. But again, Elizabeth Olsen, give her her Oscar. Benedict Cumberbatch, give her her Oscar. Um, Cinematography, please just give that person their Oscar. Once again, thank you for watching. Have a great day, afternoon, evening. Hope you enjoy.